Cat Days by Griffin Rose on AO3. Episode 49. Chapter 13. Let's see how far we've come. Was it overkill to pray the students weren't up to anything bizarre? No. Not with this class. That was the right amount. It once walked in on Kaminari decorated like a Christmas tree, lighting the string lights himself. The class hadn't even made it to the holidays yet. He still didn't know what possessed him to go out and find a bunch of ornaments for something so dumb. Upon entering the dorm, everything seemed normal. Most of the guys were gathering around the TV playing video games, and very few of the girls were downstairs. Sato was baking his snacks for the week in the kitchen, joined by Uraraka and Hagakure. It was all normal teenager stuff. He looked around again to make sure he wasn't missing anything, but he didn't even spot evidence of earlier shenanigans. Suspicious. Behaving now meant bigger stupidity later. Oh well, nothing he could do at the moment. That would have to be a problem for future Shouta. At least he was lucky enough that Todoroki was downstairs watching his classmates play games. Saved him from treading all the way up to the 5th floor. Todoroki, you have a minute? Holy shit, when did Aizawa get here? Ah! Watch your elbows. Disappointing. Clearly they needed more situational awareness lessons. Todoroki stood up. Of course. Shouta led him outside and down the path, far beyond any eavesdroppers. Is this about the case? Todoroki asked. Yeah, just got a call from the lawyer. Todoroki hummed. I wondered. Fuyumi is suddenly talking about moving out. Her and Natsu are even talking about renting an apartment together to share cost. Well, that'd be one solution. Good to know. Kayama has some concerns about your guardianship if we take this to court. Todoroki nodded. He'd probably been wondering the same thing since this all started. I'm alright with Fuyumi if she does move out. Do you have any ideas on potential backups? Any other adults you trust? His eyes cut to Shouta briefly before looking away again. I haven't really met that many. Ah, hell, there was that chest pain again. If you trust me, I'd be willing to take you in. So would Hisashi. Shouta shrugged. It's only a matter if we can even bring the case to court. I'm guessing that's still a no-go. Kayami and I both agree we don't have enough evidence yet to risk going against your father. There's also reason I'm here. A psych eval would go a long way toward proving you're not right in that household. Todoroki's face shut down. What other options do we have? We still need a psych eval, but Kayami also mentioned emancipation. The kid scowled and crossed his arms. Can't we do that without a psych eval? This was going to be the big sticking point. The judge is going to need a lot of proof that you're better off away from your father. Kayama and I can present what we have, but it's all circumstantial, and he said, she said based. Todoroki did not look convinced. He continued scowling at his shoes, mouth pressed firm in a line. Shouta rubbed the back of his neck. I understand your dislike towards doctors like that. Outpatient treatments look very different, though. You can ask Izuku what he thinks. He's actually been visiting his therapist in a few days. If you'd like, you could come check out the office. If by some miracle he could convince Todoroki to do this, he'll bring him to Dr. Narayama anyways. The scowl lessened a few degrees. I didn't realize Midoriya still went to his therapist. He only goes a few times a year now, typically around the anniversary of his mother's death. He went more often when he was younger. Todoroki nodded. If he's going soon, then I'd like to accompany him, just to see. Should be easy arranged. He can't just sit on his appointment, that's private, but I doubt he'll mind you tagging along. And if I do the stupid eval, you think I could win the emancipation? It has a higher chance of success. Shouta carefully said. He didn't want to make promises he couldn't keep. The appeal of the emancipation is that We don't have to go through Endeavor for it. Todoroki's eyes lit up. He doesn't have to know. Not until everything is said and done, and you're out of his reach. Yes. Then, yes, that's what I want to do. It should be easier to keep the media out of it, too. And no court case means he won't lose his hero license, so everyone wins. Oh, yikes. Hang on. Whether or not he keeps his license shouldn't be a deciding factor for you. I know you and Midoriya think that, but I cannot consider it how it would affect everyone. I'd rather stay in his custody than shake up society soon after All Might's retirement. No one deserves the fallout from that. This kid, he didn't look or act like he had a heart of gold very often, but it was there all the same. Why couldn't any of his kids be selfish about their own needs? That is very noble of you, Todoroki, but I cannot stress enough how much the fallout doesn't matter if we're bringing a criminal to justice. Todoroki turned his full attention to him, squaring his shoulders. We already seeing an increase in petty crimes since All Might's retirement. That increase means more people are getting hurt. If Endeavor is brought down in the same year, it will be an even higher increase. Only this time, it will be my fault for pressing charges. The people who get hurt by more villains, feeling emboldened by the loss of a debtor, would have gotten hurt if I kept my mouth shut. That's why the fallout matters. I don't want that guilt. He hated when people used that logic against him. How was he supposed to argue against that? Nothing Todoroki said was wrong. Losing the number one hero would cause an increase in crime, which would, in turn, cause an increase in injuries. Even if Todoroki wouldn't be the one to blame for it, this chain of dominoes would only start because of him. Telling him it wasn't his fault wouldn't stop him from feeling guilty, and Shouta couldn't fault him for wanting that weight on his shoulder. Damn intelligent children. Kid. I think I'd like to file for emancipation, even if Kayami could build a proper case. Getting away from him is enough for me. Shouta ran a hand through his hair. All right, I'll move forward with whatever he sends me about it, and we'll get started on that. If you change your mind, we can still press charges. That option isn't gone. All right? Todoroki nodded, but the statement clearly went in one ear and out the other. I'll send you more info about Izuku's appointment once I talk it over with him. Thank you. Does this mean he'd finally spoken to you about whatever was bothering him? I know he's been having nightmares. Shouta hummed. Yeah, he had a bad one last night, so it promoted him to finally speaking up. Good. Was there anything else, or... No, that's everything for now. Go, enjoy your rest of your day off. He ruffled Todoroki's hair and pushed him back towards the dorms. Izuku's fever broke that night, and he was thrilled. This meant Shouta would stop fussing and Eri would stop worrying. Two of his least favorite things in the world. Or, more accurately, Shouta toned down the fussing. Not that he knew Izuku was dealing with his seasonal issues again, he was obsessively checking in with him. Even going as far as to roping Tenya and Todoroki into making sure he was eating properly. His friends took their new jobs with more enthusiasm than Izuku cared for. They all but glued themselves to his side to keep an eye on him, even outside of meals. That was how he found out about the emancipation form Todoroki was filing out. Todoroki pulled out a pile of paperwork larger than some of their textbooks, all research on how to win emancipation and what it would mean for him afterwards. Izuku's head spun reading a single paper. There's so much legal jargon in this. Good thing he'd been doing homework in Tenya's room. They could look up whatever they didn't understand in one of his encyclopedias. Todoroki hummed. It's not so bad once you get used to it. Some of the pages were highlighted. Have you read all of this already? Tenya asked. He adjusted his glasses, struggling to pick his jaw off the floor. Most of it. It's really not that bad. They know half of the people reading this will be teenagers. It's only the legal stuff that they use jargon for, to make sure there aren't any double meanings or loopholes. Can we help at all? Izuku asked. They could read through some of it to summarize it for him. Or, if he was looking for something specific, An extra eye wouldn't hurt. Todoroki plucked the paper out of his hands. Not you. You need a nap. I do not. Izuku pouted. No extra work for you. Todoroki insisted. I concur with Todoroki. Tenya said. I'd rather you didn't stress yourself out again. Izuku flopped backwards on the floor. Fine. I'll lay here being useless while you two do super important stuff. Uyumi sent me some apartments she's interested in. Do you want to look them over? You'd know more than I will what matters in them. Absolutely. Give me your phone. If it were up to Todoroki, the apartment would have 4 walls and maybe a sink. If they were lucky, there'd even be a bathroom. But Izuku wasn't sure he trusted Todoroki to remember he needed that when house hunting. Todoroki tossed him his phone, and Izuku meticulously went through every link Fuyumi had sent, making a pros and cons list for each one. He crossed out a few with tiny, impractical kitchens, and another with a concerning water stain in the ceiling. Once he vetted, because of the location, it didn't matter how cute and charming the rooms were if it was an hour away from the rest of your life. He finished long before Todoroki and Tenya made any progress, so he sent his opinions to Fuyumi and helped her narrow down her top choices to go to tour. Hey, Todoroki? Yeah? You busy this Sunday afternoon? I don't think so. Cool. Fuyumi wants you to check out apartments with her. Todoroki's head snapped up. Are you texting her? Uh-huh. She'll pick you up in front of the gates at 1:30. What? I don't even have permit. Why would she? Izuku grinned. It wasn't easy to leave Todoroki a fluttering mess like this. He was always so composed. Dad won't deny you permission, especially not for something like this. And Fuyumi wants you to see them because you might be living there too. I live in the dorms. Todoroki protested. What about breaks? Tenya asked. And consider graduation. Even if you're hired straight away, you likely won't have built up enough savings for the deposit needed. Izuku nodded along. Tenya is rarely wrong. Todoroki glanced between them. Besides, don't you want to make sure your sister lives somewhere safe? Yeah, I guess. Excellent. Now with that sorted, I believe this was the answer you were looking for. Tenya said, handing a paper back to Todoroki and drawing him back into what they were doing before. Izuku listened to them for a bit, a lazy smile on his face. He hoped this would work. Todoroki deserved to be free from his father. His siblings did too. And Izuku had a feeling that the only thing tying his siblings to Endeavor was Todoroki. This was one of the few things he seemed Todoroki excited about. Printing all this research, agreeing to check out a therapist's office, and potentially making an appointment for himself. He was putting a lot of effort into this. He was determined to make it work. It was nice to see him so passionate about something, with most days it was a challenge to make his face show any emotion at all. Maybe once this emancipation went through, that might change. The nightmares didn't go away. Izuku might have finally told people about them, but it didn't do much to stop his subconscious. Even though he had techniques to try before bed, knew what tricks worked for him and what didn't, nothing was a cure. His dreams would latch onto something, and by the end of the time he realized he'd gone off the rails, everything was on fire and someone was screaming. It wasn't like he could take medicine for it either. His consistent shifting biology didn't mix well with paramedics. And what was he supposed to do to knock him out for 6 hours that could potentially leave him unconscious for 12? Theoretically, that wouldn't be a problem unless he shifted, but Izuku's never been willing to take the chance. All this to say, it was once again 3 in the morning, and Izuku was awake and trembling. This routine was getting old, but he slipped out of bed and headed downstairs again to make some tea. With Shouta and Hisashi in the staff dorms, he couldn't go crawling to them for comfort. Besides, he was 15. He needed to stop doing that. He was not above crawling into bed with one of his friends, though. He and Tenya had shared a bed often enough growing up, and Todoroki had his own nightmares the other night. He'd understand. Neither one would be mad if Izuku botted them in the middle of the night. Tenya always had a hard time falling back asleep once he was awake, and Izuku would hate for him to be tired during class, so he checked with Todoroki first. It was just easier. Todoroki wouldn't judge him for this. Tenya wouldn't either, but Todoroki was understanding in a way that Tenya wouldn't. First, tea. He was already in the kitchen, and he wanted to make his hand stop shaking at the very least. A light had been left on the common room, so he turned that off, too, while he was down there. The routine calmed down. At least, it was familiar, something grounded to UA that pulled him out of the past. Even stirring in the honey and thinking of all the times Hisashi made tea for him was his own source of comfort. Midoriya. Holy shit! He jumped, accidentally dumping the warm water of tea he'd been cradling over his chest. Ow, hot, hot, hot! Ah, apologies, Todoroki said. Izuku dropped his now empty mug on the counter and yanked his shirt away from his body, leaning over the floor. He glared at his friend. I'm going to tie a bell around your neck. I really didn't mean to startle you, Todoroki said. He passed over a dish towel and dropped a second one on the puddle Izuku had created. I thought you'd seen me on the couch. Had he seen him? No, he definitely had not. A mountain of blankets and pillows? Yes. He meant to be tidied up by whoever was using them earlier, or he'd realized not a mountain of blankets, but Todoroki sleeping on the couch. I didn't. Why the hell were you down here anyways? Waiting in case you came down? He replied, using his foot. He dragged the towel over the floor. Izuku's anger cooled down a little. Waiting in case... Ida and I have been trading off the nights. You sleep in the dorm. We don't want you to be alone if you have nightmares. That was incredibly sweet of them. What the hell? He was gonna cry. You guys. He sniffled. Todoroki looked up in alarm. Don't cry. That's why I'm down here, so you don't cry. Izuku laughed, watery, and just a few steps above sobbing. I'm sorry, it's just so nice of you too. I don't know what I did to deserve friends like you. I can't speak for Tenya, but you listened when I told you about my father and got me help. And you're always caring for us. Let us care for you now. He nodded, rubbing his eye with the back of his knuckles. After I calmed down a little, I was gonna go up to your room and ask if I could spend the night there. Oh. Todoroki glanced back at the couches. I guess this had been unnecessary then. Sorry about that, Izuku whispered, but it makes me really happy that you two cared that much. Of course we do, Todoroki said. We would have gotten other classmates involved too, if you didn't go to the staff dorms half of the week. Everyone wants to make sure you're okay. I appreciate it more than you know, Izuku promised. His torso burned, however, it was a little bitter. But I'm serious about the bell thing. Todoroki bit back a laugh and scooped up the towel from the floor. Noted. Do you want another cup of tea, or do you want to go back to bed? Izuku had already calmed down, thoroughly distracted from his nightmare by the real-life jump scare Todoroki had given him. Let's just clean up and go to bed. I'm stealing one of your shirts, by the way. Alright. Oh my god, I love this. This was such a cute episode! I do love Todoroki getting emancipated. Also, progress report for those who were listening to the Kingston 2 p.m. slot, or 2 p.m. PST on my slide, but the Kingston slot, that is forever going to be referred as the Kingston slot. It will always be the Kingston slot. I do not give a shit if I'm not podficking one of Kingston's fics. It will be, and will always be, the Kingston slot. How long have I had that? Like, that has to be at least a couple months. No, yeah. When was the first time I podficked one of Kingston's shit? I don't mean shit like in shit, but like one of your stuff. I don't mean shit as in like your stuff is shit. I just mean as your shit as in like your things. Shit as in things, not shit as in bad things. You get what I mean? Ugh, whatever. When was the first time? Hold up. Go back. It wasn't this. Oh, never mind. I went too far. Fuck. Okay, we're gonna go here. And then we're gonna go... No, we're gonna go playlist. Yeah, we're gonna go playlist. And then we're gonna go... previous page. Okay, go all the way there, and then one page. There you go, just one by one. I think, okay, Table for Two, 30 Days, A Song to Tune to Love. Villainous was the first one. So when was the first time I uploaded Villainous? Here is Villainous. It's 50. Damn. I didn't know it was 50 videos. Shit is long. Oh, well, I used to do like 10-minute videos back then. Yeah, okay. You know, that makes sense. Okay, the first time was July 23rd. July 23rd? Wait, hold up. July. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 months. Oh my god. Kingston. We could find out the gender now. I'm sorry. I need to wait for that to happen in like their actual slot and not here. I don't even know if Kingston's listening to this. Kingston, we can find out the gender now. I'm gonna just text them that with no context right now. No context. Kingston, we could find out the gender now. Hold up. Where's Kingston? Where's Kingston? Kingston better not be up. I don't even know how late it is for them. It's probably super late. Kingston. We can find out the gender now. Smiley face. Smiley face. Smiley face. You won't get this. You won't get this. I know, but it is so funny in my head. There we go. The only thing I don't like about my new phone, because I have a new phone, it's like, I feel like the typing is worse. I am having difficulty typing, and I don't know why. I typed better in my other phone, and I thought maybe it was like a size different, but the sizes of this phone and my old phone is exactly the same. So it is not because of the size difference. That is not the problem, right? That is not the problem. I do not know what the problem is. Maybe it's the keyboard. Like, this keyboard has different functions or different ways of functioning, whatever. On to this fic. I am glad that Todoroki is gonna get emancipated. It's heavily hinting on a Tododeku thing. Are we gonna get Tododeku? Also, there is Eraser mic. I'm never letting that go. Eraser mic. I'm never letting it go. Okay. As always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.